Oh my gosh. So you want to leave your job. It's toxic. Your boss is driving you crazy. You're just like done with the corporate world. And you're like, I just want to start a business. Am I ready? Am I crazy? Maybe your partner, your friend, your sister, your brother, you're like, oh no, you don't want to own your own business. You're likely going to fail. The failure rate is so high. It's so risky. And yet here you are watching this video going, yes, Susan, I do. I want to start a business. I am done. So today I want to give you 5 things you need to check off your list before you go ahead and become a full-time entrepreneur. If you don't know me, my name is Susan Sly. I have been an entrepreneur for several decades. I am the host of this channel, Raw and Real Entrepreneurship, and I have a podcast also called Raw and Real Entrepreneurship, where I interview amazing entrepreneurs and we have common sense advice for you. And common sense needs to be common practice in entrepreneurship. And that is what is going to shift the narrative on how many businesses fail. So I want to jump right into it and give you the first tip. Number one thing you need to check off your list is you need 6 months of living expenses in the bank before you go full-time into business. So what is a living expense? That is your rent, your mortgage, and the ability to pay for food, car, whatever it is that you have to pay for, and you need to do your budget and figure out how much money that is. It's 6 months minimum. And if you're a person who doesn't like risk, you want to have at least 12 months in the bank. And I have one of my students who came to my women's retreat. She left a very lucrative corporate job. She was done to go off and start her own business. And that was the biggest thing. Do you have 6 months? Do you have 12 months? And because she has a career as an accountant, for her, if her business for some reason didn't work, she could easily walk back in and become an accountant again. So if you're a professional, especially someone who's in demand, a nurse, an engineer, an accountant, a doctor, you are doing amazing, because guess what? You don't have as much risk. There are always jobs available for someone just like you, right? So you've got to have that 6 months. And if you're going crazy right now and you're like, I just want to leave, what can you do to get that money in the bank? Are there things you can sell? Maybe you could take on a side hustle for a period of time. What is it that you can do to put that in a separate bank account where you're not touching it? You're not investing it in crypto. You're not investing in the stock market. It is sitting there for you, easily accessible. That's the number one thing. Number 2 is no debt. You should not start a business to pay off your debt. That is not the right thing to do if there is a startup cost to your business. There is always a cost to your business. The cost might be your time. Let me give you an example, 2 different things. So let's say you have debt, and let's say there's $80,000 in student loan debt, and you're like, yes, I'm going to start a business and I am going to go and I'm going to do landscaping. Well, to pay off this debt. If you need to buy equipment, you're going to take on more debt. Don't take on more debt to pay off debt. That is ridiculous. It does not make any sense. But let me give you an example of a business that could make sense. Let's say you have $80,000 in debt. You have a day job, but you're going to do some consulting on the side to pay off your debt. Guess what? Maybe you don't need to have a website. You don't need to do a lot of startup things. You can just start to do that consulting and 1099 yourself out. And that's a great thing to do. So there are businesses. If you haven't watched my video on businesses you can start with $0, check that one out, because that might be something for you in order to help you transition. But you want to have no debt before you go into your business, because you don't want to take on debt to pay off debt. And you might say, well, Susan, I have a car payment and I have student loan debt, and I am sick of my job. I need to leave. Be patient. Unless you're starting a business, I'm going to say it again, that has zero startup fee. You're not going into debt to pay off debt, and you're going to do that business on the side to pay off your debt until you can go full-time. Just nod your head. Yes, Susan, that makes sense to me, right? I know you're impatient. Most entrepreneurs are. Number 3 is you want to have a tested concept. Please watch my video on how to prove out your concept for your idea. And there are different steps you want to take. So you have this idea, you're going to socialize it with some friends, maybe provide your service for free. Just prove out your concept that there is a demand for what it is you have to offer. And on top of it, you're capable of delivering. So I heard a story of a couple that they really want to get out of debt, and they decided to start this business. And what they did, it was a great idea. So they had some furniture, it was a little bit dated, and they watched YouTube videos, and they figured out a way to refresh the furniture. It didn't cost them anything. She posted all of the things as they went, and she on Facebook, and lots of people were like, oh, can you do my furniture too? How much do you charge to do that? And that was a way of testing a concept that they had. And they ended up making enough money with that business that they did pay off their debt, and that she was able to stay at home with her kids. Like, how fabulous is that? The next thing is you need to have a concrete plan. I have a lot of friends of mine right now who are starting businesses. It's like everyone is doing a startup. Oh my gosh. And they don't have a plan. And so someone I know, they hired a firm, and they're paying them tens of thousands of dollars to do a business plan. And here's what I want to say. Don't say you're too busy to create your own plan, because as Jim Rohn used to say, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So even if your business plan is something you make in a Google Doc, and you go, okay, this is what the vision is, this is the product, this is the investment, and so on, then get someone to check your plan. If someone else creates your plan, it is their business. It is not your business. And it doesn't mean you don't create your plan and then work with someone to help refine your plan. But ultimately, at the end of the day, who is the person executing that plan? Tap yourself in the chest. It's you, right? It's you. You're the one executing that plan. And number 5, and I can't emphasize this enough, is having a support system. You must have a support system if you are transitioning to entrepreneurship. It is lonely. It is exhausting at times, especially if you have your day job and you have your side hustle. If you haven't seen my interview with Blake York, he's so amazing. He was working full-time as a nurse, going to school also full-time to do a master's degree, and starting his side hustle. And I went through some challenging personal things, and, he still managed to do it, right? But he had an amazing support system with his church, with his family, and your family might not be supportive. You've got to get a support system. So that's where a mastermind group is great. That's where a coach is great. There are lots of startup groups that you can join. Some of them are free. There are different groups on Facebook, or Meta, as it's now called. It's going to take me a while to embrace that one. If you haven't seen my video on the metaverse, go check that one out. But anyway, get the support system. It is going to help you. A high tide raises all ships. And what I mean by that is when you're surrounded by people who are not only supporting you, but they're also going for their dreams or goals, that is going to cause you to level up. Head on over to susansly.com, check out my free resources there, and make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with anyone you know who's ready to pull their hair out because they want to go full-time in business and they still have a day job. So with that, God bless, go rock your day, and I will see you next time.